Hello everyone. In this video, we'll be learning about the remainder theorem. Okay, firstly we'll learn about the remainders of sums or products of numbers. So let us say we have three numbers n1, n2 and n3, which when divided by a number d give remainders r1, r2 and r3 respectively. So now what we need to find out is that if we multiply these three numbers, what will be the remainder when this number is divided by d. So the remainder in this case will be r1 into r2 into r3, and in case this product is greater than d, then we need to take the remainder of this number r1 into r2 into r3 when it is divided by d. Okay, similarly we have the concept of sum. So if we have the sum of n1 plus n2 plus n3 and we need to find the remainder when this is divided by d, the remainder will be r1 plus r2 plus r3, and again if this is greater than d, you take the remainder of this number when it is divided by d. Okay, so to take an example, let us say we want to find the remainder of 12 into 13 into 14 when it is divided by 5. There are other ways of finding this more quickly than what I am going to do, but this is basically to give you an idea of this particular concept. So the first way is you just multiply these three numbers. The answer will be 2184, and then you divide this by 5 to find the remainder. Obviously this will take a lot of time, and it is you might make an error here in trying to calculate this. So instead of doing this, we find the remainder of 12 when it is divided by 5. That is pretty straightforward. It is 2. Now for 13, again you don't need to calculate the remainder again. So by the virtue of the previous rule that we learned, if let us say a number n1 gives a remainder r when it is divided by d, n1 plus 1 will give a remainder of r plus 1, n2 plus 2 will give a remainder of r plus 2, and so on, till obviously the remainder becomes greater than d, in which case you need to take a closer look at that. So in case of 13, it is 12 plus 1, so the remainder will be 2 plus 1 here. 14 is 12 plus 2 or 13 plus 1, so here the remainder will be, if I take 2 as the base, 2 plus 2. So the remainders are 2, 3, 4. So if I need to find the remainder, I will just multiply the three numbers and I get 24. Obviously 24 cannot be the remainder has to be less than the divisor here. So the remainder will be, you divide 24 by 5 and the remainder is 4, which is the same thing you would have found here. Okay, next we go on to the concept of common factor. So in case there is a common factor in the number that is being divided and the divisor, you take out the common factor. So basically it's like the cancellation that we do. Then after taking out the common factor, you find the remainder of the remaining number. But that is not the remainder of the initial number. You need to multiply the common factor by the remainder. So let's take an example to make things clear. So let's say we have 5 into 7 into 9 and we need to find the remainder of this thing when it is divided by 12. So what I'll do is I'll take out 3 as the common factor. Okay, so now the divisor becomes 5 into 7 into 3, which is 105, and by 9 now divided by 4. If you solve this thing, the remainder works out to be 1. But you have to be very sure that this is not the right answer. To find the right answer, you need to take this remainder 1 and you need to multiply it by the factor that we used to divide it. We cancel 3 out of this, so it is 1 into 3, which is equal to 3. So this is a very common mistake that people make when they have to find out the remainder. They will cancel this factor out and then they just calculate the remainder as 1. Be sure that this will be an answer choice in the question, because the examiners are also pretty smart. So you need to make sure that you multiply it by the factor that you initially cancelled it with. Okay, now there's a concept of negative remainder. It will be used in some questions. It's not a very normally occurring phenomena, but you should know it. If I am given that, let us say when there is n and it is divided by 23, the remainder comes out to be minus 2. So obviously minus 2 it cannot be an actual remainder. To find the actual remainder, you take this number, the divisor, and subtract this 2 from it, or you basically add the negative remainder, and the answer comes out to be the actual remainder. So just to take another example, let us say I say that there is a number x, and when I divide it by, let us say, 15, my remainder comes out to be minus 3. So the actual remainder will be 15 minus 3, which is equal to 12. So this will be used in certain questions. We'll see this later. Okay, this is a